Good morning. Happy Saturday. Welcome to week 5 of 2022. And today is the start of another vlog. I can't believe we're already at week 5. Holy cow, where is this year going? But I'm hoping to have another really good reading week. There's a lot going on this week. We've got the end of the month on Monday, yep. And then Tuesday is the start of February, which is also the start of FaRoFeb, and I am ready for some fantasy romance. I've been wanting to pick it up the last week and a half, but I've been waiting because I'm like, no, I can binge all that I want coming up in February and just focus on that. Last week, I read a lot of contemporary, and I need a little bit of change of pace. So today, I will be picking up West End Earl by Bethany Bennett. I wanted a historical since I'm holding off on fantasy right now. And I can't wait to read this. I read Any Rogue Will Do at the end of last year in December and really liked it. And I'm super excited for West End Earl. And isn't it just absolutely gorgeous? Oh, the yellow dress is so pretty. And based on what I think, I haven't, I've kind of glanced at the blurb, but I haven't read the blurb. But I think what's going to happen is she has been masquerading as his, friend as a boy. And I think so it's going to be he's going to find out she's actually a girl kind of a thing. Is the hints that we got in the previous book. And the third book in this series comes out, I think, in May this year. And it's All Rogues Lead to London. And that one I know is a pirate that we meet at the end of the previous book and this Earl's younger sister. And I think the pirate's in this book too, but I'm really excited to get to it. I was debating between this and The Wife Trap by Tracy Ann Warren, but when I looked at my board 2 for Winter's Kiss to see what they would possibly count for, one of the prompts starts with the letter W, so I was like, this is perfect. And so I'm kind of feeling this, and plus with the new book coming out in a few months, I definitely wanted to pick it up. But so there's this. I haven't started it yet. I will. I'm gonna make some wax tarts this morning. I finally got the rest of my new molds in that I want to try, and also a bunch of sets that I got sample sizes of to test. Hi, good morning. Say good morning, people. Good morning. She doesn't know what to think right now. You're purring now, though. She was just screaming at me. I don't know. You probably heard that. She's loud. But so yeah, I'm going to film some B-roll clip of me making wax tarts this morning. But I have a little bit, it'll take a little bit longer this morning because I have the new molds. What I like to do with each of the molds is fill them up with water as if I was filling them with wax. And then I can take measurements and see exactly how much wax will fit in a mold. And then I put it into my spreadsheet and keep track of all that. And I haven't decided. I know I have a mocha scent or something like that, a coffee and chocolate scent that I really, really want to do. There's also a gin martini scent that I also got from their New Year's sale. And it smells really good. It's slightly alcohol-y, but it's really herby. And I'm really intrigued to see how that turns out. But I'll film B-roll clip, like I said, and let you know which scents I end up using. But I figured I might as well do the calendar for the weekend. We'll get this done and over with, and then we won't have to worry about it till Monday. So since it's a new week, I am doing the Quest Calendar 2022, The Gates of Terralon. This is by Sundial Games. I backed it on Kickstarter last year, and I think this is the second year that they've done it. And our character is Savani Moonchaser. She's a cat person monk. And there's her. There's a better photo of what she looks like. And we have been trying to track down some lost children. We ran into their parents on the way to a big city for a big competition festival kind of a thing. And so we've been helping them look for their kids. And so on Friday, we finally found the kids in a maze under a well. They're tied up. We did cut the ropes and got them free. So I'm assuming we're going to fight whatever captured the kids. But let us flip the page and see what we're doing this weekend. Oh yeah, yep. Then there's some monsters. They look kind of like goblins. Maybe orcs? Let's see. Once you free the children, you hear a cackling sound growing louder from behind you. You turn to see two hideous hags licking their lips as they survey you. Their presence is unnerving and their stench is awful. They begin casting spells to frighten and harm you. Okay, so it looks like we're just going to have one round for each hag. And we'll need to do a wisdom, so a d20 plus a wisdom, and then an attack roll, and then roll for damage. So they have the table here in the bottom that kind of gives you, I think this is here so you can put in your results, but I haven't been worried about that because I'm filming everything, so I can go back and watch it. Plus it kind of helps if I want to replay this with a different character, or pass it along after 2022 and let like my sister or something play this story too, but I do not need to put this away because all of our information is on the back of the previous page. So let me dump out our dice. Okay, so we are starting with a wisdom, and our wisdom is a +1. So let us see. 19. So we are at a 20. So we are not frightened. So now we shall attack. Our attack is a +2. And that's a 10. So 12. If your attack roll is 11 or more, you hit the hag. Cool. And our damage is a d8. So let's see how much damage. 4. If you hit and your damage roll is 5 or more, no, the hag dies. So she did not die. All right, so this is the first time that we're going to be, like, we've taken damage, but we haven't been damaged from an attack by something we've been fighting before. So this is the first time. So our defense is a 13. If your defense is 15 or less, reduce your health by 6? Holy crap. Holy crap. We have 11 hit points. We've taken 2 damage before. Now we're at 6. Focus. Thank you. We only have 3 hit points left. Shoot. We can't die already. This seems a little much. We might have to look at the rules on what happens when you're fighting, because I know we have some health. I know I have a health potion. Holy crap. Okay. Wisdom roll. We're at a +1. It rolled behind me. 14. So we are at a 15. And we are higher than 8, so we are not frightened. We're not frightened. And this is an 18. So we hit because our attack is a +2, so we're at a 20 again. Okay. Damage roll is 4 or more. Don't fail me now. Don't fail me now, D-Ace. Can you give Mama good luck? Mama can't die. Give me good luck. Thank you. So far, she's given me great luck. Great luck. 7! 7! Oh, thank goodness. Okay. So we killed the second hag. Thank goodness. I was like, oh no, we're gonna die already. First, like, actual... Well, I guess we defeated the homunculus, but... I was real worried there for a second. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Thank you for the good luck. She's giving me good luck. This is good. This is good. Okay. So, if we did not kill one or both of the hags, they flee from you in terror. So the first one flees from us in terror. But because we killed the one, we get 1 gold. So we are up to 19 gold. Hey, we're doing good collecting gold, so that's cool. That's cool. Alrighty, so 19 gold. And I'm hoping that once we get the children back to their parents, that we can finally learn, like, how to do a rest. We didn't do a rest in the prologue, but we definitely need a rest coming up soon, but we shall see. So that is it. We killed 1 hag, we chased the other one away. And that's it for the weekend, so we will see what happens on Monday. And hopefully we can just get the kids back to their parents and maybe take a rest and heal up a little bit. I know rest is like it's mentioned as a specific day, and that's kind of how you can reset your resources and stuff. But I might have to look at the rules and see what it says about taking health potions and things like that. But I'm not going to worry about that for now. I'm going to go get started on my wax tarts. I took them out too early last time out of the molds that I made, so I need to at least let them sit in the molds till tomorrow, and then I can pop them out of the molds. The wax tarts and the wax that I use, you need it to let it sit. I prefer for like 2 weeks, because then I've noticed that gives the best time for the scent to kind of evenly distribute through the wax that I use. So I need to get those done so that in 2 weeks I can have wax tarts, because I'm running a little low on my clamshells. I have some scoopable wax that I have left over from fortune cookie soap purchases, but I want to start testing out some of my new scents and go from there. So I will put this away, and I will go get started on that, and I will film some B-roll clips so you can see at least the way I make wax tarts. I don't have a super huge setup, and I just kind of got basic stuff when I started making them, but I have fun, and I'm excited to try my new scents and play around with some colors this morning. So I will film some B-roll clip, and I will be back after that once I have a chance to start West End Earl by Bethany Bennett and get a little bit in. But until then, I will see you soon. Bye. Hello again. It is Saturday afternoon, or I guess evening, because it's about 7 o'clock. Cheese and I have been cuddling. So, I told you I would have B-roll of me making wax tarts, and that did not happen. I did have a little bit of B-roll of me, which I did not put in here, but it was me struggling because I got all my new molds out and I started measuring them with water so I could figure out my ounceage for each mold and go from there. And then I put everything aside, and I was figuring out all of my formulas and what I needed for each mold, and figuring out which scents I want to try in each mold, and I was just kind of figuring out my game plan and getting everything set out. And then I went to start measuring out wax, and my kitchen scale stopped working. So after all that, I couldn't even make anything. So I have to get a new kitchen scale, and I just really didn't want to leave the house today. So I'm just going to make wax tarts next weekend. It's fine. Whatever. So when I was frustrated, and I did go back and try it a second time because I thought, ooh, maybe I got a little bit of water in it. So I popped it apart and let it air dry, and it still didn't work. And I tried new batteries and recalibrations, and it's just done for. But so I did start West End Earl. I'm that far in. I'm about 50% of the way in, and I am loving this. I wasn't sure how the trope was going to, like, how it was going to be set up, or how much of the book we weren't going to know that she was a woman, but it didn't take very long. Maybe it's about 60 pages, I think. Yeah, it was about here that Cal, or Calvin, he's the Earl of Carlisle, learned that Adam was actually Ophelia. So, what is going on is Ophelia has a twin brother, and his name is Adam. And their parents died when they were about 13 years old. And then, due to whoever, and then they got kind of put with a distant uncle. I think his name is Melvin. It starts with an M. Yeah, anyway, it doesn't say on the back. So, or they got sent to move with him. And then when they were 13, her brother was sent to school, and he, I guess, is not a good person. He's very mean. And there was a comment made like he shouldn't have small animals or children. So he's just one of those mean-spirited people, I guess. But so when they were 13, Adam gets shipped off to school, and then Ophelia gets betrothed to like a 70-year-old business associate of her uncle. So she tries to run away with the help of the local vicar. They kind of formulate a plan. She dresses up in her brother's clothes and cuts all her hair off and tries to escape. Well, she gets caught by her uncle, and then she gets basically trapped in her room for 8 days. On the 9th day, her brother comes home for school break, and they escape together. And they're hiding out at a pond on the estate, and they're just trying to figure out where to go and what to do next and how they're going to get away from this uncle. And she, I don't know, I don't quite understand exactly what happened, but she ends up like slightly pushing her brother, and he falls into the pond, cracks his head open on a rock, and ends up drowning. So she has severe guilt because she feels like she killed her brother, and she's the one that drowned her brother. But it was, and it, in a way she was, but it was an accident. And I mean, even nowadays, that would be a tough ask to bring someone back from that. But, so that's heartbreaking. But to get away from her uncle, she ends up putting on her brother's clothes, and the vicar kind of helps change it so that Ophelia is the one that's buried. And then she basically takes her brother's place and goes to school in his place, and then just is able to escape the uncle that way. So she's been living as Adam for like 11 years at this point. And she's been working with Cal and has been friends with Cal for 2 years. Well, one night on the way home, she gets hit by a street gang in the Cedar area where she lives, and is very badly injured. And her like landlord lady sends someone to go get Cal. And when he shows up, he's trying to pick up, like, because she left her clothes, because when she got like a really bad head injury, so she just kind of undressed and crawled in bed, and he's there to kind of make sure that she wakes up, because while they don't know much about head injuries, they know like enough you need to make sure that she wakes up, kind of a thing. And she like whittled, she calls it like a pizzler or something like that, but it's basically like a wooden penis that she can like use to pee out of standing up. And then she like sewed little pockets in the front of her trousers so that she can have it in there, kind of a thing. And it's really ingenious. So he's like, "What is this?" And then she wakes up and she's just like, "Don't touch that. There's pee on that." And then she basically is like, "I'm a woman." And then it just goes from there. And I love that like Cal is he doesn't have like very many friends, but the ones that he has, he will like go to all ends of the earth for. And he considers Adam and he calls Adam Puppy is his nickname. And he is just like, "You're still Puppy." But now that he knows that she's a woman, he's like, "How did I not notice her lips before? How did I not notice her butt before?" And he's like, you could just see how he's just like, "How did I not notice this little quirk or this little thing or this little thing?" And you don't have an Adam's apple, which isn't that weird, but still, it just, that like flip gets switched in his head, and now he just can't stop desiring her. And it's so, It's so good. I love, if you're looking for more historical accuracy, there's definitely like phrases used in here that aren't historical at all. But I'm just so much swept away by these two. Oh, I love it. I love it. I'm getting a little frustrated with his sister, though, which I know, but the next book is about her. But she is like being entirely ridiculous. She is like multiple times sleeping with someone who Cal has just kind of warned her, like, yeah, he's not looking for marriage right now. Like, it's different because I'm your brother and not your father, but I also know these people, so I hear them to say things, so I know for sure it's not just like gossip because he's heard this guy say things. But his sister is just so like self-destructive in a way. And then Fee walks in and finds them at Vauxhall or Vauxhall. I think it's Vauxhall. And they're going at it in like the darker little mazy area, and it's just so. And Cal's like, what exactly do you mean? And she's like, I didn't see a French letter was used, so pregnancy is an issue. And then she also was like, and this obviously wasn't the first time. And she's just so, I don't know, because Cal is also dealing with his father. His father is not responsible at all. And Cal just basically he's very much into investing. So this is kind of later on in the Regency where a lot of self-made men and businesses are starting to kind of like the aristocracy has to start working on investing in business and not just how they got their money previously. And so Cal does a lot of like investments. And so he has his own money, but he still also has his inheritance from his father. But his father is not responsible at all. Cal is constantly having, like, when he goes in to get his clothes, he's just like, oh, and then the tailor's just like, oh yeah, thank you so much for your business. And the house of, so he's the Earl of Carlisle, but his father is of the Easterly estate because he has the lesser title because he's the son, kind of a thing, which if you've read historicals is normal, and you get that. But so he's just like, oh, I'll pay both of them. And then they're like, oh, just so you know, I think he also went down to the glove person too. And so he's constantly like cleaning up after his father and paying off his father's debts. And his father makes some weird bet with a baron who's a friend of his that has a time limit. And they're like, whoever gets under this lady's skirts first, wins the bet, kind of a thing. But if neither of them do it within this set time frame, then they both have to pay whatever the losing is, which is a really weird bet anyway. But so basically what ends up happening is Cal is trying to be forced by his father to marry this baron's daughter. Neither of them want this. And so his father basically traded him for a horse. And he's just like, what the hell are we going to do with this horse? And he's like, oh, the colts and the foals that he'll pup out will be a pretty penny. And he's like, we aren't set up for horse breeding. Like, how do you expect to do that? So his father's kind of, I feel bad for Cal because his father's kind of ruining everything for him. And it's coupled with the fact that not only does Cal and this other woman not want to get married at all, she does not want anything to do with Cal, but she will do what her father says because she's a good little debutante. But now he's feeling attractions towards Ophelia, and he doesn't want anything coming between him and Ophelia at this point. So we'll see what happens. They're just kind of starting to they just finally kissed, and Fee has a lot to work through. I mean, she was worried about what it would look like in Cal's reputation if they're seen kissing. And well, Cal doesn't matter, and Cal likes to fix things for his friends and his family, and so he just wants so much for Fee to let him help. But Fee has been relying on herself for so long that she can't figure, like, she's so scared to ask for help, kind of a thing, and accept help. And so there's a little bit of angst there. But now we found out that the gang that attacked her weren't just like gangs robbing her because it looked like because it was like found out that she worked for Cal, who was a wealthy person, but it was sent by her uncle to kill Adam. And then they find out that that this uncle put a life insurance policy on Adam. So not only is he trying to get the inheritance by killing Adam, because it's in a few months she'll turn 25 and then she gets access to her inheritance. So she's just been getting like a very tiny small bit of allowance from the uncle. But once after those couple months, then she'll get the inheritance, and then she can fully like separate from the uncle because she'll have reached majority or whatever. But so now the uncle wants the insurance policy and the inheritance by killing Adam before he turns 25. So she's thinking about running away and trying to hide out for those last few months. And Cal's just like, you're safe here, come live with me and stay here. And so she stayed there it looks like she's going to be here for a couple of nights. So I'm intrigued on what's going to happen. I kind of hope she's never been able to dress as a woman, because she was 13 years old when she took the mantle of her brother. And she even says herself, she was a girl. She's never been a woman. She went from a girl to a boy to a man living her life. And I kind of hope that there's like a makeover scene, or Cal gets her a pretty dress or something like that, so she can feel like a woman. Because she dreams about it, and she talks about how she like hides like and she's very attracted to Cal, but she hides those desires in, like, she says, like a little cage or something like that, or she puts them behind bars inside herself, because she can't want that, because it could jeopardize everything that she's been doing for the past 11 years. And Cal is the first person outside of the vicar and his son that helped her do this all 11 years ago. Cal is the only other person that knows now. So it's her and those 3 people. And so she's kind of freaking out that Cal knows in the first place. So, but I'm really enjoying this. I just read for a couple hours and I'm already pretty much halfway through. So I'm definitely going to finish this tonight. It's just after 7 o'clock, and I really am enjoying Bethany Bennett's writing. It just sucks me in. It's so well done. And I'm excited for book 3. And I'm hoping that we kind of get to see a change for Emma. I know that it's going to be Emma and a captain, who I think this captain is a part of the aristocracy, or he becomes a part of the aristocracy. But I think it's the one that we met at the end of the first book, Any Rogue Will Do. But they just released the cover for it, and it's the new style. That's like the real life people with top and the bottoms cut off and the weird full cap letter block letters. And I'm just like, this book is gorgeous. And the first book is gorgeous. And it's just, I don't know. Part of me wants to not buy it in physical, to like boycott, which I hate saying, but it's like, if we don't buy the books in paperback because of these covers, maybe if enough people do that, it'll change. Or have like 2 different versions. Especially with historicals, I want the clinch cover if it's a friggin' historical that says historical. And I maybe should have thought about that before I bought Emily Sullivan's new book in paperback, but I pre-ordered that one before the cover was released. And that was another one. Her first cover is absolutely gorgeous. And the second one is just that new style, which, let me see, since I'm rambling about this and we're going to do it, let me see if I can reach them. Okay. So, like, here's the first book, Any Rogue Will Do. And then here's book 2. Aren't these, like, they're just so pretty. They're so pretty. And I love the net grabs. I love the net grabs. And then, like, here's, so like I was just saying, here's Emily Sullivan's first book. Her debut novel. So pretty, right? So freaking gorgeous. And here's the new one. And I said it when I did, like, my little book haul when I got this. I like that at least in this one, we got all of their heads and faces, and they're actually, like, embracing, and it's not just one person. But this block lettering is just not, this doesn't look historical. This looks like a vaguely historical contemporary. It doesn't look historical to me. And the new Bethany Bennett book, it has a similar cover. So I'm kind of disappointed about that. But we'll see. But I'm really enjoying these. And this is her debut book too. This came out in 2020. This one came out last year. And unless something super crazy happens, I'm going to give this 5 stars. Because I'm just completely enraptured by it. But it's easier I give 5 stars a little easier than a lot of readers, but even more so when it comes to my favorite genres like historical romance and fantasy romance. Even more so because I'm an emotional reader and I'm an emotional reader. I really want a scene with her in a yellow dress. I need it. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this. And I can't wait to finish it. I'm sad it'll be over, but. And then I'll probably pick up The Wife Trap. I've got 2 books left in the Trap trilogy. I've read the first one recently. And the second book's The Wife Trap. This is by Tracy N. Warren. And it's like a super shiny cover. And then the third book is The Wedding Trap, which I'm a little more excited for the people in The Wedding Trap than in The Wife Trap, because The Wife Trap is the twin sister from the first book, and she was not a very nice person, and I didn't like her at all. But you're kind of not supposed to like her, so I do want her redemption arc. So I'll probably pick this one up next because I've been really wanting to read it. But we'll see how I feel after reading this one. I might pick up something else. I don't know, but it's fun. I'm really liking Bethany Bennett. I gave Any Rogue Will Do 5 stars. And I'm excited to find a new historical romance author that I like. Plus, because she's new, once I finish this, I have her backlist complete because it's only 2 books. So then I can just read as she releases. So that's also exciting too. I won't have a bunch of catching up to do, like some of the other historical authors that I want to read. But so there's that. My other idea is I might finally pick up Never Seduce a Scot by Maya Banks. But anyway, I'm now rambling because I just can't stop myself. But I am going to stop myself because I want to get back to reading. And this is just what I needed after the stress of my freaking wax not working and my kitchen scale going out on me, even though I got a lot of my formulas figured out. And so next time I make stuff, I just have to do the measuring and actually making. I don't have to do the math portion anymore, which is fine. And it's good that that's taken care of. But thank goodness I had this book, because had whatever I picked up not been as enthralling as this was, I might have just been double frustrated. But it's enthralled me. And I love it. And I'm probably going to give it 5 stars, but we'll see what happens. But I will check in once I've finished it, most likely later tonight. But until then, look at the gorgeous yellow dress. Okay, so I'm not done. I'm that far in. I'm on page 287, chapter 22. Oh my freaking goodness. Holy crap. So, I'm sorry, I don't have my tripod, so I'm going to try to be as still as possible, but holy freaking, oh my gosh. Ooh, I don't know what to say. There is so much happening right now. So, the girl that Cal was kind of trying to be forced to marry by their fathers. So he came up with this plan to have a house party, and then he can get his sister, hopefully a beau, and her name is Miss Cuthbert, and he could try to find a husband for her as well. So he invited these people, and then Emma shows up, and Emma is Cal's sister, and she's pregnant, and Fee finds out, and that's like a whole other thing. So, and Fee and Cal have said that they love each other and that they'll go through the future together. And then his father shows up, who's never been to this estate. This is an estate that Cal won, so it's not entailed as part of their titles. And his father's never been there, but his father shows up, and Fee overhears his father and Cal talking, and basically he's just like, "Hi." She just woke up. He says that the Baron brought a special license and that they want to try to get married. He wants to try to force Cal to get married to Miss Cuthbert during this house party. And Cal shuts him down kind of, but without saying no, I'm not going to marry her. So he toes the line. And Fee overhears this, and all she can think of is he said he'd take care of it. He's not taking care of it because everybody else still thinks that this marriage is going to happen. And Miss Cuthbert hasn't actually connected with anybody. And so she's immediately heartbroken. I mean, she was super hard for her to trust him in the first place. And yes, she's jumping to conclusions and there's a misunderstanding, but I understood it because it was so hard for her to give trust in the first place. And so she, she's a thinker. She comes up with a plan. So she approaches Emma, and she tells Emma that she's actually Ophelia and not Adam. And then she's like, well, technically everybody still thinks I'm a man, and I've been living as a man. So Ophelia and Emma just got married as Adam and Emma. And I'm just like, holy crap. And so, they approach their father and not Cal. And then, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, and then he goes out and gets a special license and he brings the vicar in, and then they call Cal down at breakfast time. And they're just like, hey, they're getting married. Oh my gosh. And, oh my god, Emma's pregnant and marrying Fee as Adam. But Cal and Ophelia are love. It's just what the heck is happening right now? But I love it. And it's just oh my gosh, how are we going to get out of this? Oh my gosh. It's just I had to stop because what in the heck is happening? This is going places I did not expect, but I'm still loving it. But I'm just what is happening? Oh my gosh, where are we going? And her uncle Milton, his name is Milton. And then Cal kind of says something now you're putting my sister in your uncle's path on top of everybody else. And then they kind of say something. And then after the marriage, their father says something to Cal about marrying Miss Cuthbert. And then finally Cal is like, no matter what happens, I'm not marrying Miss Cuthbert. And then Emma and Fee kind of say something to him once the father leaves, you should have said that earlier. And he's like, yeah, I know. So he understands, and he picked up right away once he saw what was going on, that Ophelia overheard the conversation, and she came up with a new plan. So it's like the misunderstanding didn't go on too long because everybody got like figured it out right away. And now I'm just like, what the hell is gonna happen next? I'm just like, oh my gosh. But now that Adam is technically married, he gets his inheritance because it's 25 or married. But because Ophelia never really thought that she would get married because she's Ophelia playing Adam. So even though it's a month before, she does get the inheritance now. So they don't have to wait till she's 25. But I'm sure the uncle isn't going to play ball with that. So we still have to deal with that. And then however the hell Ophelia and Emma break up. This is going to be like so crazy. I'm just like, I'm happy and I'm excited. And we've met the Duke of Gaffney. And I feel like the Duke of Gaffney is the pirate captain. They didn't say anything about it. But I feel like he might be the pirate captain because they talk about him being a new title. So I don't know. We'll see. But he's kind of having a fling with like a wallflower. Which, I don't know. I like that trope too. Like the new aristocracy, like pirate captain dude going after the wallflower. Like I would totally read that story too. But I feel like the Duke of Gaffney is actually going to be Emma's person. But I don't know for sure. Because I don't know if he's the captain or not. And now I'm just like, my mind is going a billion places. And I probably shouldn't do that because I'm going to ruin the next book. But I kind of like that side little story that's going on because I love those tropes. And she's like super shy and bookish, this other person. And it's like totally me. So I love it. I love those characters. But anyway, I'm loving it. Things are getting absolutely crazy and going directions I never thought we were gonna go. But that's fun. I mean, of all the like cross-dressing stories kind of I've read or seen in like movies and TV shows like this, I've never seen it take this twist before. And I just had to stop and just be like, holy crap! So, yeah, I'm gonna keep reading. I've got less than 100 pages left, so we'll see how it goes. Oh my gosh. But this is good. It's good. It's good. I'm liking it. Alright, I'll be back to update you once it's over. Hopefully it ends well. Outside of the AGA, I'm hoping that things don't, like, crash and burn. But I have faith. Because I liked the first book. And already I'm just being blown away by the choices that are being made. So, but yeah, I'm going to keep reading. I will see you soon. Hello again. So I just finished West End Earl by Bethany Bennett. This is book 2 in her Misfits of Mayfair series. And I'm going to give it 5 stars. This was so good. It was so good. So, they got married, Emma and Ophelia. But there was another part to the plan that we didn't, like, hear about before. So, then they went to the vicar that kind of helped Ophelia escape from her uncle the first time. And they killed Adam, basically. So, Adam now officially has a headstone with his name on it. And Ophelia has become Fiona, so she can still have the nickname Fee. And then the vicar helped him make baptism records that showed that she was a distant cousin. So she became Fiona Hardwick, so she kept the same last name. And then her and Emma moved to like a cottage on the edge of like by the sea kind of a thing. And they basically just lived as best friends and sisters. And then Cal shows up and he finally deals with his father and puts his father in his place and stands up for himself and stops basically capitulating to his father and over and over, and kind of realizes that the more that he gives into him, the more he takes. And then he goes for Ophelia. And it was so good. I really loved it. I really loved it. We did find out that Duke of Gaffney, I think, is not the Duke that I was thinking of, because I think it's a Duke that's with Emma. But he ends up with that little wallflower girl, and there's like another one or two engagements that happened from the house party that he had, just not who he wanted, which is funny. But so I want that story. I want like a novella about Gaffney and Miss Georgiana or whatever, because I think that would be super cute. But I loved it. I'm excited. I'm even more excited for Emma's book now, because she had her baby, and then the epilogue or the final chapter. I can't remember if it's actually an epilogue or not. But it's 8 months later. Oh, and then her Uncle Milton shows up, and it is an epilogue. And then Emma and, or I guess not Emma, Carlisle, so Calvin, and Ophelia, Sophie, show up back in the season. They spend like winter at this cottage by the sea, and then they show up in like her introduction to society as Mrs. Carlisle is like the last ball of the season kind of a thing. So then they can escape to the country estate. But I'm super excited. I feel like in the first book there was a little bit of a like teaser for the next book, and we didn't really get that one here. Outside of it just says like coming summer next year is Emma's book. But because it's been a while since this came out, we know that it's May now. Which I want to say it's May 24th. I think it's the same day that the new Vivian the Rat comes out. I'll have to look at it. I still haven't decided if I want the paperback copy or not, because it's the new style of covers, but I loved it. It was really good. And it just kept taking different turns than I expected, and I really liked that I was surprised by what was going on and the choices that we're making, and I wasn't quite sure what was going to happen, because in my brain I was thinking, okay, they'll choose to bring the scandal out, and then that cancels the marriage, and they don't have to do like the annulment process kind of a thing. But if they do that after they've already got the inheritance, or after she turns 25, then it's still kind of null and void, and she gets the inheritance anyway. But Milton shows up. Like, the last couple chapters of the book just went super crazy. So Milton shows up when Ophelia and Calvin are like off walking along the cliffs, just having a chance to kind of talk and reconcile. And they come back to Milton kind of threatening Emma. Yeah, I know. It's hard to be chief. Hi. Can I help you? Okay, she's like, hey, it's bedtime. Yeah. But so they come back, and he is kind of like yelling at Emma, because before they left, while Ophelia was still Adam, she made sure that when she went to Milton's solicitor to basically get her inheritance, and then they were like, well, until during the transition period, you'll still want him to help take care of it. And she was just like, no, I'm taking full control of it now. And then she went to a different investor, she went and got her own solicitor and did up a will and everything as Adam. And then she went to like the insurance agency and made sure that whatever insurance money, she kept it on Adam, since we didn't know this at the time when this was going on, but since the plan was to die as Adam, then Emma would get his insurance as his widow. So Emma ended up not only having her dowry money, but now she has the life insurance from Adam that Milton did. But anyway, so he stumbles, falls, hits his head. So Emma and Ophelia kind of connect over that because they both kind of were accidentally a part of someone's death. But Cal is just like, we're gonna make him look as horrible as we can in his death. So they like Weekend at Bernie's him pretty much to a brothel, and then they make it look like he fell and hit his head on like this giant rock outside of a brothel, like he was being a peeping Tom, and then tripped and cracked his head open or something crazy. So we don't have to worry about Uncle Milton anymore. But I was not expecting like the Weekend at Bernie's, and then it was just like so funny because he was just like, I was so excited because this was like, because he proposes to her when they're walking along the cliffs. And oh my god, let me see if I can find it. What he says is just so great. Okay, so there's a lot of great lines in this. But so they're talking about like the day, and so eventually Cal says, granted, what I proposed a couple of hours ago, fleeing the scene of a death, wasn't how I envisioned spending the night. Not that I'm complaining exactly, but a relationship with you is full of surprises, my love. And then he says, well, I wouldn't want you to get bored. And that was how it ended. And then we had the epilogue, and I loved it. I really loved it. I loved it. I know a lot of people struggle with the newer historicals, but I'm really loving Bethany Bennett, and I'm excited to see what she does with the next book. So we have a kind of not actually widowed single parent, and I think she's going to be with that pirate captain. Although maybe he's not a pirate, but he's like sketchy. He's a sketchy sea captain, so. But I'm excited. There's going to be some good historicals coming out in May that I'm gonna really enjoy. But so 5 stars. I loved it. If you couldn't tell, it just kept surprising me at every turn, and I feel like with as many historicals I've read, that's harder and harder to do. And with the way that a lot of the newer historicals are kind of plotted out, I feel like they're almost all a little more cookie cutter, especially when it comes to like the feminism points, but this one I didn't feel like it. Like it definitely was there because Ophelia was, I don't know, lower class, and she lived as a man for 11 years kind of a thing. And that's also something I don't usually like. If it's like a class difference relationship, especially in historicals, I usually prefer it to be like a lady and then like a self-made man. Sometimes they get a little too Cinderella-y and not a good way. Like I'm not a big fan of like the governess or the nanny or like the working girl with a man of title. I struggle with those a lot. But this one, it didn't bother me at all. But it helped that it was like best friends to lovers to beloved is what Fee refers to it as. Friends to lovers to beloveds. And it's perfect. And I love friends to lovers. I just loved it. And she wears a copper gown and an emerald gown. She doesn't wear yellow, but that's okay. We do get when she changes and she starts living as Fiona, she does start wearing dresses. And so she kind of gets like her makeover kind of a thing. And then his valet,
Cal's valet helps her like figure out what to do with her hair because now she's starting to grow it out and she has like curly red hair, but she doesn't know how to like take care of it or anything. So he kind of teaches her about pomade and how she can do like do her tight curls or do like finger waves kind of a thing. And it was just like a super cute moment where she was just like, she keeps referring to her hair as like duck fuzz. And he's just like, it'll be better once your hair grows out a lot longer and the weight kind of helps control your curls. But I don't know, there were just a lot of really fun moments and I loved it. And I can't wait for the next book. But yeah, so pick up Bethany Bennett if you want to try a newer historical. I gave this one and Any Rogue Will Do 5 stars. Any Rogue Will Do is a Scottish titled hero and a lady, and that one was really good too. And it surprised me too. Not as much as this one. This one I feel like had more unexpected twists or unexpected plot points, but I still love them both. So, 5 stars. And it's almost 11 o'clock, so I don't know if I'll pick anything up else tonight, but I definitely want to pick up another historical tomorrow at the very least, but I'll have to figure out what I want to read. I was still thinking about the Tracy Ann Warrens I have up here, but I might go Highlander and pick up Maya Banks. But we'll see how I feel in the morning when I figure out what book I want to pick up next. But anyway, I'm going to get ready and head to bed. And I will see you all tomorrow. Have a good night. Hello. Happy Sunday. I know it seems I'm in the same spot. And that I'm in the same clothes. But I just put on my robe on. It's Sunday. It's almost 3 o'clock. It's just before 3 o'clock. For some reason, I put on a tank top today. So I had to put my robe on because I was cold. But I spent all morning reading Never Seduce a Scot by Maya Banks. I just finished it. I should have updated, but I couldn't put it down. I thought about it once when I went to go check my laundry, and I was like, oh, I'm a little over halfway. I can do an update. And then I was like, no, I just want to read. So this is what I've been doing all morning. I'm giving it 5 stars. It lived up to the hype and all the great reviews I've heard about it. It's really good. It's so good. It's the best Maya Banks I've read so far. At least for her historicals, which I know she doesn't have too much in. And I know that this is a series that I have the second book too. I haven't looked to see who the second book is about. I don't know if we're going to be... The series is called The Montgomerys and the Armstrongs, but I'm not sure if the second book's, if we're focusing on the Armstrong brothers or Graham's younger brothers, and he's the Montgomery. But this was so good. It was so good. I loved it. I don't know if I love something. I don't know what to say outside of I loved it. What I can say is if you haven't heard about it, the best way to learn about it is go listen to Smart Woman Read Romance's podcast on this book. I listen to them even if I haven't read the books yet, or even if I want to read the books yet, because I like in-depth reviews. And I don't really care about spoilers that much. At least it kind of depends on the spoilers, but at least with romance books, it's going to be a happy ever after no matter what. And it's been long enough that I remembered basics of this, and there wasn't anything too extra from normal Highlander romances that I've read, outside of the fact that Eveline is deaf. So I guess I'll give you a basic premise, because I didn't do any updates. Just surprise, I'm done. So Eveline, I keep wanting to say Emmeline, but it's Eveline. She is the only daughter of the Armstrongs. And the Armstrongs and the Montgomery clans have both been feuding for decades. And the king the King of Scotland is tired of infighting, so he basically forces Graham, who's the Laird of the Montgomerys, to marry Eveline. And everyone thinks that she's addled or she's daft or touched in the head. Like they don't know what exactly it is, because they know that at some points it seems like she understands them and what's going on, and then at other points she's just like lost in her own world and they don't know what to think. But I talk with my hands, and holding a book makes that even worse, because then it's even more obvious that I'm moving my hands. But anyway, I don't know why I'm like pushing it against my face, because I love it. But so it's like frustrating because she's excited for the wedding because she's excited to kind of get out and actually have a family and a chance, which she all wanted before. But she is actually deaf, but her father had arranged like a marriage to her with a friend of his, the McHugh clan, to his son Ian. And Ian's not a good person, and he basically threatened, and it sounded like touched her without her wanting it. It wasn't really gone into too much depth outside of she was terrified of him. And so when she gets injured, she falls off her horse into a ravine and then is there for like 3 days before she's found. And then she has like fever and illness, and she's like in a coma, is what it pretty much sounded like, for a fortnight. And when she comes to, she's deaf. But because she doesn't seem right in the head, because at that point she was struggling to come to terms with being deaf, Ian calls off the engagement. So she decides to kind of play it up and not say the truth about what's really going on with her, because she doesn't want to be forced to marry Ian. So when this happens, she sees it as a chance to go to a new clan and start fresh and kind of be open about what it is. And the way that Graham, he falls first for her, and the way that he just instantly just wants her, but then he feels guilty because he thinks that she's not all there mentally. And he feels guilt for having desires for someone who's not there. But then once he finds out that, the scene when he realizes that she's actually deaf, and he like takes her to talk to her up in their chambers, and he starts to kind of put the pieces together, and he's like, I'm just gonna try it. And he mouths words at her, and she responds, and he's just like, holy crap, she's deaf. And that's it. Like, she's so smart, but she's just deaf. And she's learned to live by reading people's lips. But if people aren't in front of her and she can't see their lips, or if they're talking too fast or there's a lot going on, that's why she seems completely lost in a different world, because she doesn't hear what's going on, because she can't see the people that are talking to her. And instead of being angry about her deceit, he just is so in awe of how smart and adaptable she is. And I love it. I absolutely love it. It lived up to all the hype. And I love these covers, and I love all the like plaid, like all of them have like plaid backgrounds, and I love it. I definitely want to read the next book. I don't know if I'm going to pick that up next. I should look at and go back to my Winter's Kiss board to see like what other books I have to read for prompts that won't necessarily work for FaRoFeb. Because I know like there's one that's like Shelby made a post about, and then there's a couple of holiday ones. But it just says holiday, so I was thinking of picking up some Valentine's Day novellas. And then there's one that's like set in Canada and a few other ones that aren't as conducive for fantasy. So I'll have to see what I want to pick up next. I'm loving this historical binge, but because I had 2 5 stars in a row, I'm nervous about picking up another one and it not being 5 stars and then kind of just being disappointed. But I'll at least look and see what the next book is about, and maybe I'll pick up the second book. But I know that the third book isn't out yet, and hopefully it'll come out in soon, but it's been up in the air for a while. And then what I didn't know, which I hadn't heard talked about at all, but the author's note in the back is Eveline is based off of Maya Banks' husband. She said her husband, nobody really realized that he was deaf until he was getting his master's degree in college. And he just sat in the front and sat in places where he could see the teacher's lips. And that's how he got through his schooling, and nobody really knew that he was deaf. And it just blows me away that even in like modern times that help wasn't afforded to someone like that, and nobody realized what was wrong. And I don't know, I mean it doesn't say much, but that he has the same thing where there are some lower, deeper tones that he can hear. And then it says like the school thing that nobody really realized he was deaf until he was getting his master's degree. But it doesn't go into too much about it, but yeah. Eveline's deafness is based on my husband's own hearing condition, which is absolutely mind-blowing. And probably why this one I feel like hits home a little bit more, because it has so much of her husband in it. So that's something that she's closer to, if that makes sense. And my arm's getting tired, so if I'm moving around a lot, I'm sorry. But yeah, I loved it. 5 stars. This was like a perfect lazy Sunday. I mean, I did my laundry and I got up and made breakfast and had my cup of coffee and did some cleaning in my morning and my normal Sunday morning stuff. But otherwise, I've just been enjoying reading. And Jesus has been cuddling me. She's been on top of me a couple of times today too, but now she's back over in her little bed. Look at that cute little kitty face. She's grunting at me. Say hi to the people. You're gonna grunt at them? Sometimes she just grunts and it's the funniest thing. We're just gonna grunt? But anyway, I need to figure out what I want to pick up next. It's about 3 o'clock now. And the game's not on till 6, I think. So pregame is at 5:30. So I have a couple hours. I do need to make food for the week. I'm going to make kielbasa sausage and red sauce. And I'm going to do pasta this week. Just because that'll be pretty simple. And then I might do some garlic bread or garlic biscuits or something like that. I haven't quite decided yet. And then probably some sort of veggie. But so I need to do that, but I might wait till like 4:30ish to do that, so then I can eat and watch the pregame show. But yeah, so I need to figure out what I'm going to read next. And hopefully I will do an update before I just completely binge it. But we will see what I end up picking up. But I just wanted to update. I did read a book, even though I didn't do updates. 5 stars. It was amazing. This has been a good historical romance weekend so far. But yeah, I will check in soon when I have more to update on.
Happy Monday. It is Monday, January 31st, the last day of January. Holy cow, where has it gone already? It's about 5:45 in the evening, and I'm just kind of sitting down to relax for the rest of the evening. Today I wanted something feel good, so I have my Accio yarn mug. And tonight I was feeling green tea and something nostalgic again. So I have a sweet sakura green tea which is from the Japan Green Tea Company. I get it from Japan, and then this is part of the Tea Boutique collection is who I buy it through. But so this is just green tea with sakura blossoms and sakura leaves, and it's got like a touch of sweetness to it, which is really nice, but it's just so cozy. I love it. I love green tea, but it's just that hint of sweetness, and then it's sakura reminds me in tea a little bit of like hibiscus tea. It's got that same kind of slightly florally taste, which sounds really weird, but it's really good. I love it, but I highly recommend it. And this is the sweet sakura green tea. So I'm trying to think what I want to talk about next, because I have 3 other things. I did get a little bit of book mail. This was supposed to come yesterday. I ordered it last week on like Wednesday, and I was like, fine, whatever, ship it late. I'll get it on Sunday. And if you do like the delayed shipping or whatever, you get $1 refund. And then they didn't even ship it till yesterday at like 5 o'clock. So I was like, great. But it showed up today. So a little bit of book mail. I got paperback copy of Twisted Hate by Anna Huang. Isn't it pretty? And the back just has smoke. I still haven't read Twisted Games, but I have them all in paperback. I like to support indie authors, and you don't see Asian models very often on books, so I even more so wanted to support this, and Anna Huang is an Asian author as well. I like Twisted Games is the second one. I liked the first one. I haven't read the second one yet, but I'm nervous about this one. Because when I read the first book, I could tell that they were setting up Josh, because this is the older brother to the girl in the first book. And I couldn't tell what was going on, but this is an enemies to lovers with one of her friends. But before we got to the end of that book, I kind of wanted to have him paired with like her shy friend, who's going to be book 4. But I think you get introduced to the person that she gets paired with here, but I'm not the biggest fan of enemies to lovers. But I've heard that this is a really good enemies to lovers, and people are really enjoying it, so we'll see if I enjoy it. But if anything, it's worth it for the book cover. And then the other thing that came, I needed a new tarot workbook, so I got the coffee and cards ones. It had really good reviews, and so I was excited to try a different one. Some of the other ones weren't quite giving me what I wanted, but this is by Tina Harvey, and then the back is just coffee beans. But so it's meant to be like you drink your coffee in the morning and then you work on a card kind of a thing. So I might try it. This is what the inside looks like. It wasn't very much. So it's got times for the cards and first impressions and like your thoughts kind of thing. And I feel like it's meant to be like for daily card draws, which I don't usually do daily card draws, but I prefer to do more spreads. And so like, depending on my mood, if it's full moon or whatever sort of type of event is going on celestially, I'll do a pull based on that, or based on like zodiac signs and things like that. But I wanted one where I could do, because everybody reads cards like slightly different, and while they'll have like the same like overall theme, everybody takes something different from them. So I wanted something more conducive where I could get my thoughts down and collated per card. So we'll see how it works out. But some of the other ones I've tried, I wasn't a big fan of. And then I just have a blank notebook that I separated out and then did like my personal studies and notes with for the different classes that I've taken. But So I'm going to try to do some self-study with this. And a lot of people really liked it, so we'll see. It wasn't very much. It was like $10, I feel like. But yeah, so there's that. Let's do the calendar, and then I'll do my bookish updates. So yesterday Saturday, we fought a couple hags. We killed one, the other one ran away, and we should have rescued the kids. We did get them untied before we fought the hags. So let's see what's next. Okay, so Monday, January 31st. I'm gonna move my tea over here. Okay, so it looks like we're gonna be going. My goodness! What is wrong with you? Yeah, you're excited to tell the world you just drink water? I swear sometimes. But so it looks like we're going to be climbing up the well here. With the kids safe, you are ready to leave this place and return them to their parents. You make your way back to the well where you entered the tunnels. Looking up and recalling the trouble with which you entered, you realize this is going to be difficult. So number 1, get the little girl out of the well. Roll a d20 plus strength. Reminder, athlete. And then the second roll is get the little boy out of the well. Same thing, roll d20 plus strength. Strength is not... We're just a +0, so it's not like a bad stat, but it's not our best stat. But let us see. So I will get my d20. And we do not have athlete, so it's just straight roll. The first one is a 9. Okay. If the result is between 6 and 11, that is us, you take a moderate pace and put the child's safety above your own. You slip a bit when climbing and get some minor rope burn. You manage to get the child out, but with a few scrapes and bruises. Reduce your health by 1. We are at 9 damage. Out of 11 hit points. 14. Okay, so for the little boy, if the result is 12 or more, you take your time and utilize your strength along with the rope that remains in the well to safely hoist the child out. You do so without harm to either of you. Okay, not bad, not bad. We took a little damage on the little girl, but not too bad. We learned from our mistakes and got the little boy out fine. So we are back on the surface, I guess. And the kids are with us. We are out of the well. And so hopefully tomorrow we can reunite them together. So I need to mark that I took another damage. And hopefully after we reunite them, we can get some rest and learn how to heal up and all that. So yeah, so there's that. So yesterday, I kind of struggled figuring out what I wanted to pick up after Never Seduces Scott. I was thinking another historical, but because I read 2 5-star historicals, I didn't want to feel disappointed with whatever I picked up next. So I decided to change genres, and I really wanted to pick up fantasy. And technically, I could have started FaRoFeb earlier, because it starts tomorrow on February 1st. But I was like, no, pick up something else, look at what you have on your board 2 prompts, and read something that is harder to, that'll fulfill a prompt that's harder to meet. Hi! Can you say hi to the people? Say hi! Look at the people. Look up here. Look up here. Hey. Look up. Look up here. I know. See, I'm a kitty. I do what I want. What are you doing? That's my tea. You don't need my tea. But anyway, so I went through books Shelby's made a post about. So I went through Shelby's Instagram to see what I had on my Kindle or what I already kind of had checked out from Kindle Unlimited or that I had purchased or I had in paperback, and then I was going to do paperback, but then this happened. So I was folding my laundry during the first period of the game, and she was following me around and really wanted cuddles. And her favorite thing is when I lay backwards on my bed, so with my feet at my pillows. And then she likes to curl up along my forearm, and she spent the rest of the game snuggled up on top of my arm. And she would get up and rotate, but she spent the 2 whole periods. And then I kind of gave her the boot because I took a shower right after the game ended, and then I watched all my post-game stuff. So I had to pick up something on my Kindle, and I couldn't do paperback. So I ended up picking up this book here. You see it before I can remember it. One Hot Italian Summer by Karina Halley. I am 64% in, and I'm really liking it. This is my first Karina Halley. I have quite a few books on my TBR by her. Most of them are contemporary, but I know she's kind of getting more into the paranormal and fantasy realm right now, which I figured would be the first books I would pick up from her. But when I saw that Shelby made a post about this, we're supposed to get 3 to 5 inches tomorrow night of snow, followed by another 1 to 3 the next morning. So I was like, I need something that's not wintry. And a lot of the prompts are winter and holiday based. So I went with One Hot Italian Summer, and it's good. I'm liking it so far. It's a little, I've heard lots of reviews about it, and I think the Smart Women Read Romance did a Patreon or just a normal episode on it as well. So I knew some of the things going into it, but it's been a while. So I just kind of remembered the basics of it without reading the blurb. But I'm really enjoying it. I love, so what it is our heroine, Grace. She is a writer, and she used to be in a writing duo with her best friend, Robin, from college. And they wrote cozy mysteries, I guess. And so their name was Robin Grace. And Robin gets hit and ran and passes away. And so Grace is really struggling on writing her next book and just finding a life path after her best friend has died. So her agent ends up dropping her because her agent, it seems kind of like her agent was more friendly with Robin, and Grace is very much the introverted of the pair, and Robin was the one that would always push to do the book signings and go out and meet with people and was very effervescent. So she has a new agent, and her name is Jana, and she is known for being a really big superstar agent and gets the best out of authors kind of a thing. And so she's in the UK, and Grace is from Scotland. So she's struggling, and she's talking to Jana because Jana's like, hey, your deadline is approaching. How's the book coming? And she's finally just like, I haven't been able to write anything. I have 0. And she's like, well, you have to at least write something so we can edit it and go from there. And Jana can kind of tell that she's struggling, and as much as she wants to kind of be strictly professional and just be like, you need to write it, I don't care how you write it kind of a thing, she offers up a vacation house in Italy, and she's like, you can stay there from January 1st to June 1st to June 28th, and maybe the change of scenery and just get you out of Scotland into bright sunny Italy will kind of help get your muse going kind of a thing. So she goes, and it ends up that this house is Jana's ex-husband's house, and usually every summer he goes on a trip with their son, and it's a month-long trip. Well, what happens is this year they were doing a boating trip, and his son's friend breaks his leg, so they cut the trip short. So he comes back to his house to find Grace swimming, or she was tanning. I guess she wasn't technically swimming. She jumps in the pool, but she was sun tanning and just trying to kind of reset and work on ideas and just kind of zone out. And she ends up stripping because she's like, nobody else is around, so I'm gonna do it naked because I'm in Italy, and why not? Which, even if I was alone, I don't know if I would do that, but anyway, it was a fun introduction because him and his son walk up, and she's just kind of wandering around the pool, not in the pool. and she's naked. So then she jumps in the pool to kind of hide herself. And so basically they end up letting her stay because there's like guest rooms and different stuff. This house is like an old hunting lodge that was used in the past. And then it's also like an olive orchard. I don't know if it's an orchard, but it's like where they grow when they make like olive oil and stuff like that. And so she ends up staying, and he is, what is his name? Claudio, because Claudio is how Jana says it to anger him. So Claudio, he is an artist as well. He does sculptures, like full-on marble sculptures, and then he also like dabbles in like artwork and stuff like that. But so he ends up having Grace be his muse, and he starts to sculpt her, and then things get steamy between them. And then he has his son Vino, is really cute. He's completely like science minded, and it's super fun because he's just like going off about Stephen Hawking and the Hadron Collider, and he's just like, you tell he's like super into science. But it's fun because they're both like artsy people, and he's just like science, science, science. But I'm really loving it. I love the son, Vinio. I think it's Vinio. Vani? I think it might be Vani, because he's named after Giovanni, which is one of Claudio's uncles. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. They're coming up on the 28th when she would have had to leave, and she's like actually making progress on her book. So to kind of help get her out of her writing funk, she was changing to write women's fiction. But now she's just like, I need a happy ending. So now she's writing a romance novel, especially because Claudio is inspiring her definitely with the romance aspects. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this. This is really good. It's very like sucks you away. I'm very much like, ooh, I want to go to Italy. Like I always wanted to go to Europe, but I really want to go to Italy now. And the way that I like this kind of stuff, like some of my favorite things when I studied abroad in Japan was just kind of wandering around the little neighborhoods. Like I did some of the big touristy stuff, but some of my favorite parts were just like the everyday places. There was one day, because I studied abroad and we went to Fukuoka, I think is the town. It's been 10 years, which is crazy. Or I guess it'll be 12 years this year. But after school got out, I spent like 2 weeks exploring Tokyo. And one of my favorite days was when I just took the train to a random city or a random prefecture in Tokyo, and then just kind of wandered around, and I found like a little park in the middle of these apartment buildings, and I just lived as a native for a day kind of a thing, and it was just really cool. And I found like a really cute little bookstore, and that was super fun because I was like, my Japanese is not so good, but it's better because I've been here for a while. But they didn't have very good English, but it was fun to kind of go through a Japanese like hometown bookstore, not like one that's like in a mall kind of a thing. But anyway, so I just love that she gets to see like small town Italy, and it reminded me a lot of that. And I definitely, if I get to travel again, I don't just like the big touristy areas. I like to go to the small places too, where you can actually experience like the real everyday culture kind of a thing. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. This is the first Karina Halley I've read. This is convincing me to pick up more of her books for sure. So hopefully I will finish this out, and we will finish January strong. I think this is book 15. I'm close, so I'm not quite caught up, but we'll see what I can do. I need to finish editing last week's vlog tonight and get it so I can get it exporting so I have time to upload it tomorrow night to post on Wednesday. So I need to finish that tonight, but then I'm going to spend the rest of the night reading. And I will update once I have finished One Hot Italian Summer. I'll see you soon.
Hello. Happy Tuesday. Happy February 1st. I feel like a wreck. I redid my hair, but it's been a crazy day. So this morning we started out with 4 to 8 inches expected. Whoa, coming through. Hello. And then that changed to National Weather Service alert 7 to 11 inches. And now there is a second National Weather Service that is saying 14.25 plus with the upstream. Which, if we get upstream, then I'm in the foothills of the Rocky Mountains. So when we get upstream snow, it's not good. So, yay. So I ran to the store on the way home. I didn't need much, but I wanted to get just a couple of things to stock up my pantry in case we do end up getting a bunch of snow tonight. Most of it's supposed to happen tonight, overnight. Well, I guess a mix of tonight and tomorrow. Tonight we're supposed to get like 4 to 5 inches from what I last saw. And then tomorrow another at least 5. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, so I had a little bit of groceries. I made tea. I'm using my Dead Serious About Books mug. Although I could totally take a Dead Serious About Mugs mug too, because I am serious about my mug collection. So there we go. I got this from Hello Lovely. Tonight I'm drinking Tazo's Wild Sweet Orange. As it looks like. It's herbal tea with orange peel, lemongrass, citrus herbs, and licorice root. And by citrus herbs, I don't know. It's got lemongrass, blackberry leaves, citric acid, rose hips, spearmint leaves, color, that's turmeric, orange peel, hibiscus flowers, natural flavor. It doesn't say what natural flavor, just natural flavor. Rose petals, natural orange flavor, ginger root, licorice root, and licorice extract. But yeah, it's good. It's something a little different. I like it. I like orange. I like licorice. It definitely, with the herbal pieces, it's definitely a little more on the tart or sour side, which is funny because they call it wild sweet orange. But so yeah, I'm drinking that. I'm just gonna relax. I did not read one bit yesterday. Well, I read in the morning before I went to work, but I didn't read anything last night. I was finishing editing last week's vlog, and I put on the new season of Mountain Monsters, of which there are 4 or 5 out. And I watched them all. I don't even know why. It's not like that's a favorite show of mine, but I enjoy it, and it's super fun. I don't even really remember what happened. I found them last season. It's the first time I ever watched them, and they were hunting like the wolves of Virginia County or something like that, or the Virginia wolves. It was interesting. What I enjoy about it is they're a bunch of like hillbillies, and when they're just kind of hanging out, just talking about stuff, the way that they make fun of each other, it just cracks me up. And that's what I enjoy about it. Not as much the cryptid hunting stuff. But what was kind of cool about last season is they did, and I've only seen last season and the current season. I tried to watch the first episode of season 6, but it was like coming off of it had to do with season 5, so I was just like, I don't know what's going on, so I just didn't watch it. But I watched like 4 or 5 episodes last night, and I don't even remember what they're hunting. Oh, really? Is it kitties? Are you lonely? Oh, really? Do you want to say hi to the people? Say hi. My name's Cheese. You just gonna rub your head against me? she wants a lap. So I'm going to watch the game. Pre-game is just about to start. It's about 6:30 and the game is on at 7. So I'm just going to read. I want to finish One Hot Italian Summer, which is hilarious that I'm reading this and we're supposed to get like 14 inches of snow. But I want to finish that tonight and then I can start my fantasy romance binge for FaRoFeb. But let's do the calendar real quick. So yesterday we climbed back up the well. And we got both kiddos up. So let's see what today's is. Aww. The kiddos are back with their parents. Look at the smile on the girl. I'm like blocking my light, but isn't that... I hide my face. Recognize their faces. That's really sweet. Okay, you return the children to their parents who embrace their kids in elated joy and tears. Thank you, thank you. We are forever grateful that you have returned our children to us. How can we repay you? A, demand payment for your services. Or B, no thanks is needed. You are happy to help. No thanks is needed. You are happy to help. Also, happy Chinese Lunar New Year. I kept getting emails and notifications about it today, but I should have said that earlier. But then I was reminded because it said it at the bottom. So we are not going to intimidate the parents. So no thanks is needed. You're happy to help. Gain 1 virtue point. So we now have 2. Blessings upon you. We are headed to the festival and tournament of lords. Greycliff is quite the journey from here. Perhaps you can ride with us. There's plenty of room in the wagon. If you accept their offer, gain a +5 to your next survival roll when you journey to Greycliff. Write wagon ride on your character sheet inventory to help you remember this. Heck yeah. Yes, please. Get us there quicker. Just let us ride. We will carpool for rescuing your kids. I will take payment in that form. I will not demand payment, but they offered and we will take advantage. So cool. So I will write wagon ride. Right wagon ride. Say that 5 times fast. On my character sheet and give us an extra virtue point. So nice and easy. We are done. We are good. And we are set to go. So I'm going to get cozy, get a blanket. As soon as I grab a blanket, she's going to be really happy. I've got a blanket behind me on the chair. I got a blanket. What do you think? She's getting all Twitter faded because she saw me grab the blanket. All right, so I'm going to give my kitty a lap and read until the game starts. And I will be back to update once I have finished One Hot Italian Summer. Until then. Hello, happy Wednesday. It is Wednesday, February 2nd, and I sat down to film an update. And as you can see, somebody crawled under the blanket I had on my lap and is being super cuddly. We got about 8 inches of snow overnight, so my boss said I didn't really have to come in because the roads weren't super good, and I just have a little Ford Fusion, so I went out. My hair is kind of still a mess, but I went out and shoveled the walks, and then I've just been kind of relaxing and hanging out this morning, but I want to start reading, but I figured I'd do an update. Last night I finished One Hot Italian Summer by Karina Halley. I'm going to give it 5 stars. It was really, really good. I really enjoyed it. I knew, like, based off of Shelby's stuff that I was probably going to like it, and then I also know that Smart Women Read Romance did a podcast episode on it. So I had a feeling I would probably like it, but I'm definitely glad that it lived up to the other reviews of people that I trusted. And Claudio is like the perfect Italian book boyfriend. Look at her. She's just happy as can be. Look at you. Look at that cuteness. She's enjoying the extra cuddles since I didn't have to work today. But so I went through my FaRoFeb stuff this morning, and I'm going to pick up War Prize by Elizabeth Vaughn. This will be my first FaRoFeb book, and it'll probably, depending on what I go with, it can go with a recommendation or a new to me author. I don't remember exactly what it's about. I found it on like a Trope Tuesday or an Instagram rec. And it's supposed to be like barbarian historical fantasy. And if I remember correctly, our heroine is like either the princess or she's part of like a royal family-ish of one clan, and they've been fighting with barbarians. And since she is not, because she's a girl, she can't take over the throne kind of a thing, she learns healing before she has like an arranged marriage. And when there's a huge battle with these barbarians, because she's a healer, she doesn't just heal her own troops, but also the other troops. And then I think she either ends up healing like the warlord of this other barbarian tribe, or, my goodness. And she just stretched out her little footy. He's so cute. Hi. Or she like heals his people and he finds out, so then to like do a peace treaty ceasefire kind of a thing between these two people, he asks for her as like a war prize. So I remember it's like slightly historical, or at least it has historical vibes, but is definitely a fantasy. And I don't know if her healing is magical or not, but I was super intrigued. I added it. I don't know if I've mentioned this, because I don't do like full on TBRs. I use the Google to-do list for my TBRs, because it's usually just a couple book club books. What are you doing? But then I have a couple other, like I have one that's a list of my favorite trope that I want to get to, and then I have ones that are books that sound really good that I really want to try to get to soon. And so this was one of the ones that I have I want to read soon. Look at those pretty green eyes. Look over here. Hey, look over here. Look at those pretty green eyes. Snaggle. She has a snaggle tooth. That's what my mom always called it. Yeah. My goodness, she is so cuddly today. But yeah, so I'm going to start reading that here soon. I've got coffee. I made a fresh pot this morning. I had a cup and then I made a fresh pot after I shoveled. Okay. I'll see you later. And so I'm using my coffee and stepbacks mug this morning. But I think I saw, I think it's Literary Enchantments is the shop I bought it from. But I think I saw on her Instagram that she was closing down her shop a couple months ago. Okay. Now that she's off my lap, we're going to adjust slightly. Okay. So since she just got off my lap and I can sit forward, we're going to do our calendar. So yesterday we reunited the kiddos with their parents. Let's see what we do today. I'm assuming we're going to continue our wagon ride to the city. Oh, okay. Congratulations, you've gained enough experience to increase your hero's level. Level up. Look at that. So it's Groundhog's Day, Imbolc, and Foundation of the Realm of the Bearded Beard. Okay. Okay, so let's see what it says on the back. Increase your hero's level to 2. You have 2 points to allocate however you wish to choose to your hero's traits. So that's our 6 main ones: strength, dexterity, constitution, intellect, wisdom, and charisma. Okay, and then it says, and then it tells you for the characters what you get with the level up. But since I got the hero book, we will just flip the page to level 2. And so it already has our expanded abilities and our increase to hit point and defense and all that done. But, okay, but it does have that our traits up here are blank. And before they were printed on. So we do still get to choose what our pluses are going to be. So we did a lot of dex stuff and we did a lot of strength stuff. And then I had some intelligence stuff as well that we worked through. So I don't know. I don't like negative stats. I'd rather have a character that's like basic in a lot of levels with like one really good one than have like a couple really good ones and then some negatives. And we did make a few intelligence rolls. So I think I'm going to give 1 to intelligence to make our intelligence a -1 moving forward. And then we used our dexterity and our strength, but I feel like we made more strength rolls. So I think increasing our strength to a +1. I'm thinking of doing that instead of doing our dex to a +4. So I think I'm going to do, although a +4 is decent. A +4 is decent. And I don't know if there's a max. Let me flip to the beginning and see what it says for leveling up. Level up. Okay, so when you level up, we do not get a rest, so we still have damage. Okay, so we still have not rested. So it looks like I don't see anything about a max. So we're just, I'm going to do it. Might as well. I feel like a +4 is better than a, I don't know. No, we'll stick with my original thoughts. So we're going to make our intelligence a -1. We'll give 1 point there, and then our strength a +1. So we'll up those 2 by 1. And then that'll leave our dexterity as a +3, our constitution is a +0, our wisdom is a +1, and our charisma is a -2. So that's cool. And I think that's it. Like I said, all of the increases and stuff are here, but our hit points are going up to 15, which is nice. So we're not quite, we got 4 hit points, so we're not almost dead, but we're like, we're not doing so hot, but that's cool. And our damage went up to a D10. Our defense is the same, and our attack went up +1. And then we had 3 skills before, so we gained the skill of athlete, And then we now have 3 chi points instead of 2 chi points, and gained chi evasion, which is gain a +4 defense bonus for the page to use 1 chi points. And we didn't really use our chi points before, but before we had one that can remove the poisoned and cursed condition is what we had before. And since we ended up making our rolls, we never got poisoned or cursed, or at least poisoned, because that's what we had the chance of happening to us. So I'm gonna transfer all my stuff over, and that's it. That's another fairly simple day. And then tomorrow, I'm assuming then we'll continue on towards Greycliff, I think. I think it's Greycliff, the city that we're traveling to. So that's all I have to update for now. I didn't really say much, but I really liked One Hot Italian Summer. I feel like I talked about it more, and it ended kind of how I thought it ended, but I really liked the way that it was dealt with, and how they were so worried about Vonnie, and he was just like, yeah, no, I know you guys love each other. You weren't that great at hiding it, kind of a thing. But that was cute. And I liked the epilogue. The epilogue was really sweet as well. But so I'm gonna, since I don't have a kitty in my lap right now, I'm gonna do my level up stuff real quick, and then I'm going to get started reading the War Prize, and I will update once I've made some progress. Until then, hello. Happy Wednesday evening. It is about 9:30. I just got out of the shower and I'm getting ready for bed. So I read all of War Prize. I did not update at the 50% mark, but I have finished it. I'm going to give it 4.5 stars. There were a couple things that bothered me. However, my rating might change. I saw that this was a 6-book series and that all of the covers looked like there was different people on them. The first 3 books are about one couple. So it ended on a cliffhanger, which I was not expecting at all. So 4.5 stars. Mainly because, okay, so what I thought it was correct. So we have Zylara, and she just goes by Lara. All of her, like her country and her bloodline and everybody has like their name starts with XY. And so she gets, I don't know, traded or in an agreement for peace with Kier, who is the warlord that was like taking over. I forgot the name of the country. Zyland, maybe? I don't remember. Oh my gosh. I literally just looked it all up to double check before I started recording. I swear. Okay, I didn't see it in the blurb, so I don't know. Okay. But anyway, so she gets traded to him. Now, her brother is her half-brother and he's older than her, but when his mother died, the king at the time, Zyron, who's the father of both of them, he remarried. And then Zylara was his second child with his second wife. Zymund is her older brother. So he tells her that she's being traded and she's going to be a slave. They call them Firelanders, but Kier, who's the warlord, says he's the warlord of the plains. So they're from like the plains area. And this is like end of summer, so it's just about winter. And so they're all trying to like get this taken care of before they have to travel back to the plains, like to their home base. And they want to do that before winter hits, because that's, makes travel and things harder. So he claims her as War Prize. So there's a lot of misunderstandings because her brother is an absolutely horrendous person. And this is technically a spoiler, so if you don't want to know, skip ahead to when the cover's down. But at the same time, you can tell. And if you read like fantasy or just romance in general. You kind of can see what's actually going on. The trope reminded me a lot of, I think it's the second book in Zoe Draven's like Warlords Alien series. But so it's very obvious that she doesn't know connotations, and even though that she's been learning the language, she doesn't know everything. So there's a lot of things that she's kind of left clueless about, and she's just trying to make her way through as best as she can. It takes a lot longer than I would have liked for the term of war prize to be brought up and for her to finally address it with somebody. She constantly is like, my name's Lara, my name's Lara, my name's Lara, because she feels like she's not a person anymore, because everybody just refers to her as war prize. But war prize is a title, and it's basically like the fated mate kind of a thing for a warlord. So it's not like real fated mates, but she's a consort, and it's basically, if he claims her as war prize, he's claiming her to court her and woo her. And war prizes are very highly esteemed because when they are claimed, and they're very rarely claimed, but when they are, they're seen as a way to help the Plains tribes move forward and grow and adapt and change and just further them. And there was a lot of interesting talk about, because they're seen as like barbarians. And sometimes things are brought up where they're like, and you think we're barbaric? And I can see like how like I think this was published in 2011, but I can see how some of those connotations are in like today's society kind of a thing, like pot meet the kettle kind of stuff. But I really enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed the friendships that were built. And this is definitely a slow burn. Definitely a slow burn. And then my big issue why I didn't give it 5 stars is because Keir pushes Laura away for her own safety. And while it is more dangerous for her to be a war prize than become queen of her country, we're just going to call it Zyland. I'm sure it's wrong. But and then she's incredibly heartbroken. And people kind of don't really let her grieve that loss. And there was a scene where the person that trained her to be a healer comes in and kind of smacks some sense into her, so to speak. But I didn't like the way that he said it, because he called her like spoiled and like do something. And I get that. But at the same time, she still needs, like, as a healer, he understands sometimes you have to work through that hurt. And I feel like they didn't give her the time to come to terms or to get past that initial shock and grief of losing someone that she was falling in love with. And it made it even worse because she specifically tried her hardest not to fall in love with Keir because she didn't understand what a war prize was and how revered it was. And so she was worried that she would give him her heart and then he would toss her away when the next war prize came along, not knowing it's super special, super unique. They're very rare. So that broke my heart a little bit. And I liked the way that she like turned the tables and kind of chased him down and didn't let him say no. And then he picks her up and she's trying to talk to him and she's just like, my heart beats for you, for us. And then he just looks at her and he's like, forever. And then it ends. And I was like, they haven't gotten back to like the plains yet. They're still traveling. So then I looked it up. And so book 2 and 3 in the series are about Laura and Keir. And then book 4 is a warrior woman that Laura becomes friends with, and then her friend that we meet, Heath. And then there's book 5 and 6. And I think book 5 was Simus's book, if I remember correctly. And he's the, like, warlord's general that gets hurt that Laura heals in the beginning. And that's how kind of Kier finds her and learns about her. And then book 6 is somebody else I feel like that we've met too, but I don't remember who. But I feel like it might be one of his other warriors or somebody else I didn't see. But I also saw a note on Goodreads that this connects with another series of hers. And so her recommended reading order is, from what Goodreads says, is the first 3 books in here, then the first 3 books of that other series, and then to come back and read these 3. So I want to go to her website and check out and see how the reading order is. I also saw that there's a prequel, and the prequel is like a Land of the Elves or something, which is not dealt with at all. We didn't really get any magic here, but we do get hints that, I don't remember what they call them. I think war priests or something priests, which is the barbarians or the, I don't know what to call them. They call them Firelanders, but they don't like that term. I'll just call them the barbarians. Whatever. They're kind of barbarish, but they have, their version of healers are something priests, like war priests or something like that. And they, I guess, have magic. So, but we didn't have a war priest here. And so, and I guess they don't really have healing. So when somebody like breaks their leg, they ask for mercy and you're supposed to kill them. And Laura's there and she's like, what are you doing? Don't kill this lady. This is how we meet the warrior woman. She's like, don't kill her. I can fix her leg. She just has to stay off of it and let it heal for 40 days. She's just like, what are you guys doing? So many people have died for no reason because you didn't like learn modern healing techniques, kind of a thing. So I really enjoyed it. But that, like I said, there were a couple of little things. And then the surprise cliffhanger where I was like, wait, we're at the end. So I'm picking up book 2. Book 2 is Warsworn. And I'm guessing these are Kier's eyes because he has like fiery blue eyes. So we'll see. I'm probably going to read at least the first 3 books and then I might switch to a different author. I just kind of wanted to read one, but I want to at least read the next book, but I'll probably try to get through the trilogy. I don't know if how far I'll get by the end of the week, but I got my first book for FaRoFeb done, and that's exciting. And the first bingo board has one of them is posted TBR, which I already did last month, so that's already done. So I have 2 prompts out of the 9 taken care of. So I used it for something you love to hate, and that's cliffhangers. I don't like cliffhangers, especially surprise cliffhangers. Like if I was warned, that would be one thing, but because I didn't really read the blurb and I didn't read the blurbs of all the other books before going in, I was like, that's it? Really? I scrolled back a couple pages and then was like, nope, that's the end. And then I had to look it up and I was like, okay, I guess. And then I guess I didn't really say, but I'm used this for the prompt for my Winter's Kiss board 2 for Rec from Booksta. And I saw either on a Weird Romance Wednesday or on like a fantasy romance Trope Tuesday post. And I don't think I said it, but I used One Hot Italian Summer to cover a book that Shelby made a post about. Although I might have said that when I first picked it up. But anyway. I'm not sure where Warsworn is going to pop up next. I'm thinking for my Winter's Kiss one, depending on how far timeline it gets, we might get into winter because I said winter was coming. Winter's coming. So it might work for set during the winter, which I wasn't expecting a fantasy book to cover that prompt. So that would be super exciting. But if not, it will for sure cover either Underhyped, want to read before the new year because I want to read this trilogy before the end of the year for sure, or recently acquired, because I'll have to get, because I just got the first book because I wasn't sure what I thought, but I'm gonna look at my Kindle and get the ebooks for, unless my library has them. I should check that. I should check my Hoopla first. My Hoopla has better options than Libby for me. Also, when I was looking on Hoopla today, apparently they have like bonus things, so they don't count. Like for me, I get 10 a month, 10 checkouts. I lost the word. 10 checkouts a month. But they have like a section of bonus stuff. So I got a couple audiobooks and I picked those up because they were fantasy romance. That one of them's an Evelyn Lace, that's her Grimm series, that's a little more recent, that I definitely want to pick up. So I got the audiobook for that, and that didn't count as one of my 10. And I saw that there was like even movies and stuff on there. So I'll have to look. I never think to like check them for movies and things like that. But yeah, if you didn't know, they have bonus checkouts or bonus books. I can't remember what they call it. They call it bonus something if you look in the collections that are available. And they have a lot of romance ones for Valentine's month. So I thought I'd just throw that out there. And I always forget. I always think at the end of the month I should go in there and just check out a bunch of stuff and use the rest of my 10. So I have books on there, but I always forget about it. And then I remember every once in a while, but then I never get to them before the 21 days is up. So, but yeah, definitely check out Hoopla. I do check on Libby a lot of the times, but for some reason, there's just not much on my Libby, and I have more on my Hoopla. And I feel like my library also has like second halves of series and never like the first half, which is annoying. But I should check those first for the next 2 books before I get them from me, before I check Amazon or my ebook stores. But all right, I'll start rambling. I need to get to bed. It's almost 10 o'clock now. So, and Jesus already in bed. Yeah, she's just sleeping away until I mess with her. But yeah, so that's it. I will check in once I've made some progress with Warsworn, or if it's anything like War Prize once I've finished it. But I will definitely check in tomorrow. I'm not looking forward to driving into work tomorrow. When my boss left work, she called just to kind of check in, and I guess they hadn't really plowed the roads yet, which is weird. So hopefully they just were waiting to do it overnight when there were a lot less people on the road. So I'm hoping tomorrow morning I can at least get to work fine. But I'm going to leave early. Always give myself extra time. But yeah, so I'm going to get to bed and I'm going to read a little bit. And I will check in later. Have a good night. Okay, so quick update. The kingdom is called Xi, just XY. It was a lot simpler than I thought it was. So Kingdom of Xi. And there was something else I was going to update, because it was mentioned in the author's note of Warsworn. Hold on. Oh, I just wanted to say, I noticed that War Prize was actually published in 2005, not 2011. There was like a re-release done in 2011 that she updated with like a bonus little story or something like that. So the version I was reading was 2011, but it was originally published in 2005. So I wanted to correct that. And I think that's all. Yeah, because I saw it says after her like little thing, her author's note in the beginning, it says forthcoming in 2007, book 3 Warlord. And I was like, if book 3 comes out in 2007, book 1 was not published in 2011. So I had to look that up, but I was like, oh, I need to fix my tracking sheet. But yeah, so those quick couple updates. But yeah, we're kind of picking up shortly after book 1 left off, so there isn't a time jump or anything. So I'm excited to just jump right back in and see what happens. I did I did kind of glance at the blurb just to make sure that it was Kier and Lara when I glanced at all of them to see who was in what book, and I think I saw something about a plague in this one, so we're gonna get a lot of healing stuff from Lara, so I'm excited to see what happens. But alright, I'm gonna go to bed and I'm gonna read a little bit and stop blabbering at you, because here's another 2 minutes that just didn't really need to happen if I paid attention in the first place. But yeah, alright, good night again. Hello, happy Thursday. It is Thursday, February 3rd. It's just about 8:30 in the evening. I just got done filming my January wrap-up, so that's exciting. I suddenly kind of decided in the last week or so that, hey, I'll film my wrap-up so that if you don't want to watch my super long vlogs, you can at least see what I've been reading and what I rated, if you also don't want to read my blog. So I figured I'll do wrap-up. So I'm going to add a new type of video, but yeah, so I wanted to do some updates. So I started Warsworn last night, and I got to 48%. However, I am now at 56%. And I don't know, this is a lot different of a vibe. So I can't remember how much I've got into it. This picks up very shortly after the end of the first book, War Prize, and Lara and Kier are traveling to the plains. I didn't really explain it before, but so war prizes have to be like approved by their council or the warrior priest or something like that, and have to be like accepted as a war prize. But so she is a war prize. She just hasn't been confirmed as a war prize. So that's kind of weird. But so they come across a town that's in an old fort, and they think that they are not showing Kier as the new overlord the respect that he deserves. So they're just like, we have to go, kill him and make sure that they understand that they can't do this. And Lara's like, hold on. First of all, communication issues, because we speak different languages. But let's see first before we just go in and raise this town. So as they approach, she feels like there's something wrong. And then she sees a pillar that's full of vinegar, and she's like, oh crap, I think I know what this is. And so she convinces Kier to let her approach, and we find out that this town has been hit by a plague. And it seems, she doesn't quite know, she calls it the sweats plague, but it's very similar. So what happens is someone gets sweaty, they sweat a lot, and then they kind of go into a hallucinogenic they go into like a rage. And we know because Lara catches this when she's trying to help this town, and we see from Laura's point of view that it's not just them getting into a rage. She's hallucinating. I can say that word. She's hallucinating and going through memories of like her father and her past. And then it's also twisting with like current day things. And then they basically fall into a coma and then pass away. So her and Ipor and Isdra, who are two of her guards, go into this village to see what they can do. And Ipor dies. He catches it, and it is so fast, less than a day once he gets the sweats. And she feels so bereft. There's only one survivor of this town, and it is a baby. And it broke my heart. And Ipor and Isdra are bonded pairs, so they're like fated mates. They're called bonded in this universe. And that was so heartbreaking to read. And Laura just feels like she's failing as a healer because while she's seen and learned about plagues before, this plague is a lot quicker and slightly different than what she has learned. So she's not exactly sure what to do. Then she gets sick. So what they were able to find a couple people alive when they first got there, and one was the healer of this town, but everybody has died except for this baby. So after Epor dies and Lara gets sick, she tells Isdra to just burn it all, chain her up, grant her mercy, even though she doesn't believe in mercy the way that the barbarians do. And what ends up happening is Keir sends his portion of the army because some of it stayed back behind, and Zai to help with Seamus. So he sends them forward. And then he, Marcus, and Gills, who's like Laura's little apprentice, stay. And Isdra had somehow like let them know that Laura is sick. So they stay to help cure Laura, and she does end up getting saved. Gills ends up when, because they can't control her sweating, they end up taking her to like a stream or a river or a lake or somewhere, some nearby water source. And because it's so cold, because it's approaching winter, and just being dunked in the stream is able to cool her how she needs to be. And then she finally breaks the fever, and somebody like pats her on the back, and then she realizes that there's fluid in her lungs. And so it's not just that she's coughing, but like every hour they just like beat on her back so she can cough out what's been there. So it seems kind of like a pneumonia kind of thing where the lungs are just filling up with water. And thankfully, because she was able to break the sweat and come out of the rage, and she wasn't just she didn't fall into the coma, they're able to figure out that her water is filling her lungs. So it's almost kind of like a dry drowning situation. But she ends up making it through, but she is so weak. And they're making plans to meet back up with the army, and Jordan shows up, and he says that there are 10 warriors sick with the army. So they head there to try to see what they can, and people are dropping left and right. It is terrifying. And I understand why people that we get close to will pass sometimes, especially in fantasy romance and situations like this. But I hate it when characters that we get close to pass. And because they were bonded, Isdra now, it's almost expected, but she wants to basically take herself off. And I think they call it like joining the snow or something, but basically allow herself to pass so she can join Epor in the afterlife, or at least their form of the afterlife. So that's really sad because Laura doesn't want to lose her, and she needs her help. And when the army gets sick, or when Jordan shows up, it's when Isdra is like basically saying goodbye. And Laura's like, I need you to take care of the baby, and I also need you because you know what's going on, and you can see and you can help tell everybody what exactly is going on because you've seen firsthand proof, kind of a thing. So right now, they are all, they're like, it was 100 people were sick within a few hours, and then within a day or so, it was more than triple that. So this army is just pretty much being decimated, and it is scary. We also have Iftin, who is kind of causing issues in the first book. He is starting to really cause issues and be very against Lara, and he keeps talking about how the city dwellers are causing the issue, and this is a city dweller disease, and disease has never really been something that the barbarians of the plains have had to deal with, so I'm not sure. And I know, like, living in cities and just the way, like, because it's kind of medieval times, how just the way that they disposed of waste and things like that caused issues and created a lot of illnesses. But I find it odd that the barbarians never really had illnesses, although it also kind of seems like maybe if somebody was just a tiny bit sick, they would just ask for mercy and be killed before anything else could happen. So I'm not quite sure what's happening there, but I'm just... The baby finally catches it, and the baby almost dies. But all of the warriors are obsessed with this baby, and I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm really nervous. I feel like Iftin is going to cause big issues, not just snarky little things, and has to constantly be told that he's not the warlord. I don't know. And I'm nervous. And I know that there's a book 3. So I know that Kier and Lara are not going to die. But I don't want any of our people to die. Rafe is sick right now, who's another one of her guards. Prest is another one of her guards that I love. I don't want them to get sick and die. I don't want Marcus to get sick and die. I don't want any more of our characters that we are close to get sick and die. Even more so because, like, I would say this is a fantasy romance. However, the romance is taking a little bit of a backseat. It's not like there is tension, and you do get sweet moments between Kier and Lara. It's not very steamy. They're not necessarily closed door, but when they are intimate, it is outside of, like, kissing. She goes into, like, she likes the kissing. But I feel like when the actual, like, super intimate moments are a little more kind of, like, glossed over. Like, they're there, and the scenes are there, but they're not, like, very descriptive, which is fine. But I feel like it's more focused on the fantasy elements than the romance. But I still do consider it a fantasy romance. It's just I've read more balanced, I guess, for the fantasy and romance books since this one has come out. But like I mentioned, these were early 2000s. The first book is 2005. I want to say this is 2006. And then I know the third book was 2007. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, I'm really nervous on what's going to happen with Iftin. I feel like he's going to try to wrest control of the army away from Kier, even though they're not in a proper challenging time or whatever their situation is. But I feel like if Kier gets sick, we're going to have some issues. So yeah. But hopefully I'll finish it tonight. I've got Women's Hockey Olympics on while I edit my wrap up, but I wanted to do a quick update instead of just doing it when I finish the book again. And while I'm thinking about it, we should do my quest calendar. So let me pull it over here. So yesterday we leveled up. We are now level 2. So let us see what's going to happen next. Travel to Great Cliff. Hey, look, we get another fun map. Woohoo. All right, perhaps the remaining journey to Great Cliff will be uneventful. Traveling along the main road is typically much safer due to higher traffic. Also, you are more likely to see other travelers making their way to the festival. There are 2 possible routes that lead to the city of Great Cliff. Choose one to take. Take the main road or take the shortcut. Reminder, survivalist and wagon ride. These are both roll d20 plus wisdoms. I'm going to say take the main road. I don't think we need to worry about taking the shortcut. And the shortcut looks like it goes through the forest. And last time we went through the forest, it didn't turn out too hot for us. Granted, we were with our other character. But still. So we're going to take the main road. We're going to stick to the main road. We have the wagon ride, so we get the bonus from the wagon ride. And I don't know if I have survivalist. No, we do not have survivalist. So this is going to be a wisdom roll. It might help if I look at the correct character sheet. And I will get my D20. Okay. So we are taking the main road, which is option A. We got a 12, but we have the wagon ride. And I don't remember what the wagon ride did, but we're the goal was 11 and we're at 12. We're at 13 plus our wisdom, so we're fine without whatever from the wagon ride. So the main road is full of people making their way to Grey Cliff as well. It has caused a bit of a traffic jam as everyone is getting stopped at the gates for inspections. It seems that security for the city has been heightened for the event. However, you navigate and weave your way around people so that you can get to the front of the gate sooner and do not have to wait as long. Cool. So sweet. We are officially in Grey Cliff. And there's the city up there in the corner on the map. So we are going to probably start doing the festival soon here. So that's exciting. Another simple, easy, quick quest calendar for today. The last thing I want to mention is my tea for tonight. I was feeling a lemon tea. I was in the mood for tea, lemon. So I have the Tazo glazed lemon loaf. This is a green rooibos tea with notes of bright lemon and creamy vanilla. Which is really funny that it says that, because let me read you the ingredients. Or I guess, okay, so it's apple, green rooibos, orange peel, chamomile, rose petals, licorice root, ginger, and natural flavors. So I'm guessing the lemon and the vanilla is in the natural flavors, but it's weird that the lemon isn't more prominent, especially like lemon peel instead of orange peel, but it does literally taste like lemon pound cake with a hint of vanilla. I probably could have used my vanilla sugar in it to make it, to amp up the vanilla, but I feel like this is sweet enough. Sweet enough. It's part of their dessert delights, and I got this from a friend. They bought it and they didn't like it, so they gave it to me, I feel like. I don't know. I don't usually buy Tazo teas, but I have some Tazo teas, and they're usually gifts from people. So yeah, I made a big cup today. I'm using my SpongeBob mug because the high today was like 12 degrees. So when I woke up, it was -7 degrees this morning, and I was like, I don't want to get out of bed. But yeah, so there's all that. Hopefully I can finish War Sworn tonight. And then we'll see. I'm going to wrap up the vlog tomorrow on Friday. So I might try to pick up a novella or something else depending on what's going on. But we'll see what happens. Or I might just end it early. I have a book club book I need to read this weekend. That's a historical romance. So that'll kind of take me out of what I was planning to read for my normal prompts. But we'll see what happens. But anyway, so there's that. And I will be back once I have finished War Sworn by Elizabeth Vaughn. I'll see you soon. Good morning. Happy Friday. It is Friday. It has been a week. It is just before 8 o'clock in the morning. I figured I'd do an update before I get ready to go to work here. I probably won't do anything tonight. I've got Jen's interviewing Juliet Cross tonight. We've got Olympics opening ceremonies. NHL All-Star starts tonight. Tonight's the trick shots and the skills competition things, which is the part of the All-Stars I enjoy. And then tomorrow at 1 o'clock or something crazy early is the NHL All-Star game. But yeah, there's a lot going on tonight. So I probably won't pick up anything tonight. And if I do, I probably won't finish it. So whatever I pick up tonight, I'll move to tomorrow's or next week's vlog. So I'm going to end it tonight, or this morning. Tonight. Tonight. It is in the morning. Let me do my quest calendar first, and then we will talk about War Sworn. So yesterday, we traveled to Grey Cliff. We chose to take the normal route. And then we rolled well enough that we were able to get into the city in good time, because there's traffic jams or something fun like that. Yes, I'm aware. Someone has decided that. So when I was working 2 jobs, I would be in between 6:30 and 7. So she was getting fed at like 6. And so this new time change, even though it's been a couple weeks now, she's still not used to it, and she wants to be fed at like 5:30 in the morning still. But I'm not waking up at 5:30 just to feed the cat. What is wrong with you? You were full of it this morning. She's right here. Can I help you? Snuggle that. Of course, I start filming her and she stops talking. But I'm sure you could pick her up in the microphone because it's quiet in here and she's the one besides me making noise. I'm not allowed to stop petting you? My goodness. Okay. Now, Mama, do this and then I'll go feed you. I'll feed you early, I guess. I'm such a sucker for her. Anyway, so let's see what we're doing today. All right. Ooh. Looks like some guards at the gate kind of a thing. You finally arrive at the gates to Greycliff. The flood of people flocking to the city for the festival has caused the security screening at the gates to take a while. You step up to the guards. They both seem agitated after manning the shift for so long. They do a typical search and ask that you pay for entering the city with weapons. 1. Recall your knowledge of the city's tax law. Roll d20 plus intellect reminder student. And then there's 2 A, B, C, D. So 2A is pay the fine of 3 gold. 2B is persuade them to let you pass. And then 2C is intimidate them into letting you pass. So we don't have student. And our intellect's a -1. Our charisma's a -2. We could try to intimidate them because our strength is a +1. But I kind of just want to pay the gold. Let me see. Let me look at the back of the previous day and see if it has anything else at the top. No, it just lists out what happens. Okay. I think it doesn't have anything extra, just extrapolates on the options. I think I'm just going to pay the gold. We ended up finding a bunch of gold when we were tracking the kiddos. So we got extra gold anyway. And we have 19. So I'm just going to pay the 3 gold. And we're just going to leave it at that. That's fine. So we paid the gold. We are inside. So this weekend we will explore Greycliff, I'm assuming, for the first time. So I'm excited. I'm not sure how long this festival will take up in the thickness of the calendar, but we're already a decent chunk in. Look at that. It's hard to see, but there's like a little overhang. Maybe if I can get it just right. Yeah. Yeah. But so we'll see what happens now that we're in Greycliff. I'm intrigued to see where the story is going to take us. Okay, so book. I finished Warsworn last night by Elizabeth Vaughn. This is the second book in her... I don't know what the series is called. But I finished Warsworn. This is the second book. The first book was War Prize. And I'm going to give this one 4 stars. This was basically all the plague. It once again had an abrupt ending. And I know that these books like connect into, or at least the first 3 are supposed to connect into each other, but the ending is so abrupt that we don't really get, at least, like, we get closure with the plague stuff, but we don't get like closure and then like we settle with the closure, if that makes sense. So it's all of a sudden like an abrupt ending. The warrior Gills died. And then Isdra may or may not have killed herself. They found her dead. They're assuming that she killed herself so she could be with Epor and join him in the snows, or whatever the language is that they use. But Laura pointed out that she did not give Epor's mace, club, whatever his weapon was, to Prest, like was asked. And she also didn't say goodbye or finish something that she was supposed to do for Laura. And this happened while they were doing their big, like, I don't know, funeral ceremony, I guess is what you call it. So, I don't know. I don't know if anything's going to be made of that. Warrior priest showed up. The guy who's kind of been causing trouble this entire time, Ifton, broke his arm, and Laura tried to heal it because her oath as a healer is to heal those who need it, whether they're good, bad, enemy. I mean, that's what got her into this position in the first place. So he insults Epor, and Isdra attacks him. And because he's not holding her token, she's allowed to attack him. And she knocks him upside the head. With Epor's club, I think. But knocks him out, but she had broken his arm previously in that fight. Laura tries to fix it. All of the warriors see this, so they see her trying to fix and heal him, even though he is actively working against her and Keir. And then when he comes to, he rips it all off, and she can see that his arm needs, if he's not, and then some time passes, and she's just she is having her guards and friends try to look at his arm and make sure, see what's going on with it. And she keeps trying to see, if his fingers are swollen and things like that, because she doesn't want him to lose use of his arm, because he's a warrior and he's high up. He's Keir's second now that Simus has stayed back in Zai. So, I don't know. I don't like Ifton. And then the warrior priests show up, and they supposedly heal the arm. But they keep giving him food that Laura sees, and Laura thinks it's just one of their pellet foods. But it's mentioned as being brown and not white, so I don't know. But supposedly his broken arm is healed by magic. So we get more hints of the magic, but magic hasn't come into play yet. And I wish it was. That's why this is 4 stars. I wish we had more dealings with the magic. This entire book was dealing with the plague. They still haven't gotten to the plains yet. And so at the end of this book, more warrior priests show up and basically call Keir to task and call him to meet the warrior priests, which they were going to anyway. But now instead of him approaching them and presenting his war prize kind of a thing, it's now he's been called before them because he didn't show up in time, but they didn't even try to explain that they were high. My goodness. Yeah, but they don't believe in this invisible enemy is what they keep calling it, because they've never dealt with illness before. So, I don't know. And Jordan is now against them. And Laura's kind of freaking out because Jordan was her one of her only confidants in the tribe, or in this, I guess it's an army because it's a collection of tribes. But I understand why Jordan got frustrated with them, because he is training to be a singer. And so they don't really have writing or books or anything. They're oral histories. So the barbarians' memories are really good. And singers are kind of how they tell their stories. They sing songs of great doings, and it's very honorable to be in a song of a singer. But with how many deaths happened when this plague overtook the army, all that he's been doing for the past 40 days is death songs. And you could just kind of see it wearing on him. And so he kind of pulled back from Laura and Kier, and now he has made it a point to let them know that he is against Kier bringing Laura and trying to change and adapt ways between the Zai and the barbarians. Which I understand now because of this, him getting scared of it. But I also didn't like... But they were also friends. And I feel like he could stand against them, but still be Laura's friend. I don't know. I know it's a difficult situation. But I felt so bad for Laura because she confided in Jordan before she ever was comfortable confiding in Kier. And he's the one who pushed her to confide in Kier. And he's kind of been the only one to recognize and point out things that weren't explained to her by Kier or Marcus or other people. And he was the one that told her what war prize meant. And he's the one that's brought up what a lot of these things actually mean, because she's been kind of left to either figure it out or go off of the lies told to her by her brother. So I don't like that she's lost basically her one person who was teaching her about this way of life. I mean, Kier's still there and they're falling in love. There may or may not be that she's pregnant, because people keep being like, "Are you pregnant?" And she's like, "No, I'm not pregnant." But then she thinks near the end of the book, "Am I pregnant?" So I don't know. I will read the next book. I need to pick up Annie's song this weekend for Rake Appreciation. What are you doing? She is utterly and absolutely full of it. Alright. You're just happy to hang out here? She just got settled. She just wants attention. Can I help you? Yeah. Alright. Well. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I can't remember what I used this for. Let me grab my book. Let me grab my book. And then we'll finish up here. So I used this for Underhyped because I've only heard one person talk about this fantasy romance series before. So I use that for Underhyped on Winter's Kiss. That's the 10th book on the bingo board. That one is a 5x5, so we've got 25 prompts. And then I use this as Love the Cover for the first board of FaRoFeb. Now, what I have left on the first board is Low Fantasy, which is Our World, FaRoFeb author, Favorite Trope, New Release, Indie Author, and Epic Fantasy, which is a different world. And I feel like this book is a different world, but like Our World I feel like it's a middle. It's in between, which I think they call it Portal Fantasy or Middle Fantasy is what I would classify this as, because this has a lot of historical stuff, but this is also definitely not our exact world or our exact historical world kind of a thing. So I don't know what exactly I would classify this as, so I don't think that the third book will fit any of those prompts. But since it has like a historical setting, I can use that for the second board. So what I might do is pick it up later in the month. And what I'll do is I'll pick up other fantasy romances to fill the first board and finish my Winter's Kiss board. And then depending on where I'm sitting at for the rest of the month, that will be one of the books I pick up for the second board. But I have to read a historical this weekend. That's what Annie's Song is. And then I don't know what I'll pick up next. Maybe Kate Daniels, but I have a little bit of time before I have to read Kate Daniels. But I'll figure it out. That'll be in the next vlog. So yeah, that was it. Read another few books this week, so another good reading week. But like I said, it's just that first abrupt ending plus the cliffhanger was frustrating. And this one felt more like an abrupt ending, and it didn't really feel like cliffhanger. But I guess technically it is a cliffhanger, but it's more just like, it feels more of a continuation this time, but maybe because I expected it to happen. But anyway, I gotta go get ready for work. I hope you enjoyed watching this vlog. If you want to see more, feel free to like, subscribe, all that jazz. But yeah, a decent start to FaRoFeb. I'm excited for what else I'll pick up though, because I know I have some good fantasy romance on my TBR, or on my idea list at least. But until then, I hope you have a great week, and I will see you next Wednesday. Bye.
I want you to believe. Hold me, need me, catch me. Want you to dream. I want you to dream.